Let's look at the fact that it was Spain in 1492 that originally sent people over to the, quote, New World, Western Hemisphere, in 1492. Spain had been at war for 800 years. Difficult to imagine. Difficult to imagine for us 5 years in the 20th century and the type of changes that that can make when you're at war. But to imagine it for a generation or so, 20, 25 years, but 800 years they are at war. So a complete transformation that's not really even analyzable for us. So throughout much of that 800 years, they had been ruled by a very dark-skinned race of the Moors during most of that period, really. So that war, the being at war for 800 years, it actually ended that very year in 1492. A lot of other things going on. They were kicked out all the Muslims and Jews from the country. They gave them a deadline, and they had to be out by a certain amount of time. So it was a lot of hardship, part of the Jewish culture. And it was rumored that the Jews were taking a lot of wealth and gold and jewels with them, and that they had swallowed them. So a lot of the ships of Jewish folk that were fleeing, there was many pirates and ships going after them and cutting open their stomachs to try to get these jewels. A lot of brutal things that it's difficult for us to imagine, the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, the things that went on. Hundreds of these stories are not very pleasant in the Western Hemisphere that can ruin your day for sure, and books that you can read were too disturbing to get through to the end, for sure. But certainly the Spanish Inquisition is an example where they were kicking everyone out and they were burning people at the stake who wouldn't confess and needed to say that they were Christians, basically. And as they were being burned at the stake, if they would convert to Christianity, then they would kill them mercifully. But if they wouldn't, then they would keep them alive as they burned to the stake. So, well, Christopher Colon, who was Christopher Columbus, that's his real name, he was the one who came over here. He had a ship, 1,200 prisoners is what they were. They were adventurers and prisoners. They were coming after gold, and it was Isabella who sent him over, and the Pope, with the Doctrine of Discovery from 1451, had given the green light to all the kings and queens of England, who had their authority through the divine right of the Pope. There was only one church at that time. And the Doctrine of Discovery in 1451 said that it was okay to go, and if you were converting heathens anywhere in the world, which of course Australia, India, Western Hemisphere, Africa, it was okay to take their lands and their belongings, which I call going to war. It was okay to kill them. It was okay to enslave them. So that is the sort of landscape that we're in when we have Spain embarking on this mission with Columbus in charge in 1492.